Do you know what? I think it's the most I've enjoyed the game of football since I stopped playing. It's probably the first time I've been to a stadium and not been given any stick as well. So I just hate it. I just don't like it at all. It's just taking every emotion out of goal celebrations, and like we're seeing red cards given for some things, which is crazy.
Do you enjoy those set pieces though, Wayne?
It's part of set pieces, is part of football. But so
no, but like all the pushing and jostling and stuff.
Yeah, but when David Beckham's whipping free kicks in from 20, 25 yards, it's a piece of genius.
Okay, so you guys are going to tell me that there was no football this weekend because Man United didn't play, but it was, of course, FA Cup weekend. Wayne, you were at Wrexham. Did you enjoy it? It looked like it was a bit wild, and I mean, what a cup tie.
Do you know what? I think it's the most I've enjoyed the game of football since I stopped playing.
Really?
Yeah, really
Why?
enjoyed it. Just the atmosphere, the fans. We had to walk through the fans quite a bit to get to pitch side and stuff, and the fans were great. It's probably the first time I've been to a stadium and not been given any stick as well. So that was
my next question. Were they nice to you?
Yeah, that was nice. But no, just the atmosphere, the game. I thought it was a really good game. Wrexham were excellent. Unfortunate not to go through, and yeah, really enjoyed it.
So red card changed the whole game for them, didn't it?
It did, and I just don't think it's a red card. I think he's gone in quite quick, but he hasn't caught him high. I just don't think it's a red card at all. So I think they should have stuck with the referee's decision.
What did you think, Kay?
Do you know, I just think it's a bit unfair for VAR to be judging teams that don't usually play with VAR.
Yeah, but I don't even think I don't even think it's a risk. I just think he knows that if he doesn't make the tackle and Garnacho goes past him, they're in trouble. So he's made a firm tackle and made sure if he hasn't won the ball, he's took the player. It happens all the time. We've all been there as players, and it's a yellow card. And I think, and that's where VAR, again, I just hate it. I just don't like it at all. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere, but for me, it's just taking every emotion, even the goal at the end. I know it's offside and they get that right, but it just taking every emotion out of goal celebrations, and like we're seeing red cards given for some things, which is crazy. And yeah, unfortunately,
it's the consistency of it, isn't it? That's the issue.
They get it wrong, and they get it wrong. They get it right a lot of times, but when they get it wrong, it's just football is the emotion, the joy of football for me is going year by year, and you know, sooner, probably anytime soon, they're going to end up with a robot or no referee in the middle of the pitch, because that's how it's going, and it's a shame.
Do you think it can affect players though? Like if they're not used to playing it, as Kay kind of mentioned there, do you think if you're not used to having it, what would it be like for the likes of your Wrexham players?
No, I don't think as a player you're thinking about it on the pitch, especially the tackle yesterday. You know, there was one the other day, which game was it, where he was offside by a nose. The Tottenham Palace game, and it's just ridiculous, some of the decisions which are given. And I was speaking to when we were speaking to the referee who was on here, and they're saying about the 5 centimetre rule. Well, that guy's nose, Sar's nose, I don't think was 5 centimetres. So if they're saying he's offside by that, then it's just ridiculous. And Vert gets a goal given early on in the season, and then we're seeing Casemiro's one, I think, was against West Ham as well. I think there's no consistency in the decisions they're given.
Word on Chelsea, because Wrexham were brilliant, weren't they? I mean, they want to get promoted. They're in the playoff places in the Championship at the moment. They look good value for kind of potentially doing it this season, if not then next season. But what about Chelsea? What did you make of them? I know they made a lot of changes.
Yeah, again, I just don't think in the FA Cup, I know they've got Champions League midweek, and they've got a lot of players, but the quality of players they played, they should be winning that game. But I still don't agree with the amount of changes which teams, not just Chelsea, but teams are making in the FA Cup. And I thought they'd done really well to get through that tie last night, because Wrexham were at it, the fans were at it. And I've been there, I've played in games like that where, you know, it's very difficult to get through that tie. But for them to get through it, I'm sure will be a big relief for
Garnacho
everyone.
had a game of his life, didn't he?
At Chelsea, Garnacho play. Well, he did against Aston Villa as well. I think with Garnacho, it's just the end product. Could he deliver a bit more assists and goals? But yeah, I think for Chelsea, I think that's just a big relief. And I don't think you could see he didn't want to bring Joao Pedro on after they get the equaliser, but then he brings him on and he gets the winning goal. He's in great form at the minute, so I think it'll just be relief for Chelsea getting through last night.
Wayne, you see when you're playing a lower league side sometimes as a Premier League side, why does it become so hard? Is it literally just the atmosphere and stuff? Because a lot of the time fans are expecting you to steamroll a team.
No,
like
it
that.
could be everything. It could be the atmosphere. It could be the pitch. You know, the fans are closer to you. The dressing rooms aren't great, and you can make excuses. And we've seen it many times. And I think a lot of the foreign players find that difficult. The good players, the players you play against, of course, they're not playing to your level, but the good players, and they're giving everything to try and beat you, to try and cause an upset. So, and I think that's why the FA Cup is the best cup in the world. And when I'm seeing teams resting players all the time, and especially teams who aren't, in Europe and they don't need to, and it's an opportunity. We've seen it last year with Crystal Palace, go and win the FA Cup. The FA Cup in '95 gave me my best moment as a fan. I just think it's a shame that. And maybe that's foreign managers as well, and the pressure on managers now losing their jobs with every game which goes by. So it's difficult, but I still think for the FA Cup, for me, you play your strongest team regardless.
Yeah, I felt like that way a bit today, like watching the likes of Fulham, missed opportunities for teams that are safe in the Premier League.
Yeah, and once you're safe in the Premier League, like you see Sunderland gained the rest of the few players, and Sunderland's had a fantastic season, but why not try and make it even better, and why not try and go to the next level into the quarter-final, then potentially semi-final. You don't know, anything can happen from there, so why not try and give the fans something different and something a bit extra, and for me that's where it's just disappointing. Teams rest players and don't really take it that serious.
Also, does it not affect your momentum as a team, Wayne? So, say if you're on a good run in a league, and then you make so many changes and then you lose, does it not affect your form afterwards as well? Do heads not drop?
100%, and it can affect many things, because if you bring players into the team and they don't do well and you get knocked out, then that affects that player individually and his mindset. Then how is he around the training ground? How is he as being a teammate going back to the bench? And so the mood and the atmosphere around training grounds. So there's many different things in which it can affect you, resting players, and of course momentum. If you've got good momentum going into it, then it takes that right out the window. So I think it's in many different ways, and it can affect you. But for me, the FA Cup is still one of my greatest memories as a player as well, with lifting the FA Cup and doing it as captain as well. I just think it's undervalued at the minute.
Just a quick word as well on Joao Pedro, because we always speak to you about various strikers, but he's very much probably one of the most informed strikers in the league at the moment, would you say? What have you noticed that's changed about him under Liam Rosenior?
I think he's just settling into his position, isn't he? And he come on yesterday. He was outstanding. I thought he was out left for Chelsea when he was under pressure. He was taking the ball. He was calm. Always seemed to have time on the ball, and then scores a great goal. And I think we've seen obviously before at Brighton he's a good player. But I think there's just a consistency in now over the last few weeks in playing in the right position and scoring goals. Obviously, is giving him confidence. So I think he's probably is the most informed forward in the league at the minute.
I'm doing the highlights tonight. That's why if you are watching this on YouTube, you may notice that I'm in a seat that Wayne's often in. When he's doing Match of the Day, I'm doing it this evening. I'm with Glenn Murray, and he's obviously someone that's watched a lot of Joao Pedro. And we were kind of discussing what his best position is, because he's played out wide, hasn't he? He's played as a number 9, but I'm wondering if his position now, kind of a bit more like a 10, is he? Is that what he is now?
For me, I'd play him as a 9 and let him almost like what Harry Kane is doing at Bayern Munich, and Totti done it for Roma many years back as well, and where he's clever enough to come into position to take the ball, but then the way Chelsea play now, you've seen him with Neto and Garnacho out wide. They hold the width, so they hold the back line back, and he can come into the spaces. But then once the ball goes out wide, he's in the penalty box, and for me, that's the false nine, if you like. I think that's perfect.
He's not really got any competition anymore in that space either. I think anytime he comes on, he announces himself, and he always has a good performance, and he's sort of made that position his own, I think.
Yeah, and I think Liam Delap, he struggled obviously with injuries, and he hasn't challenged Joao Pedro really for that position when he's played, and he's still a young lad and still a lot to learn and a lot to improve on. So from that point of view, but regardless of what Delap is doing, Joao Pedro is making it very difficult for Rooney to leave him out the team.
It's so important that the move you make, isn't it? Because in the summer he was being touted by like Man United and Chelsea and other big clubs as well, like Newcastle. I know we're in for him as well, I think, and now obviously I think the way it's gone and a few unlucky injuries and bad performances, his stock's sort of like diminished, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's tough, and again he's a young lad, and he suited Ipswich when the way Ipswich played in the Premier League, and direct balls up to him, running into the space, and using his power, holding off defenders. But I think the way Chelsea plays is a bit more precise, more possession based, and you'd have to be a bit clever. Why Joao Pedro was doing well in tighter areas and get your touch right and things like that. So it's a little bit different to what he was used to at Ipswich. So hopefully he improves and he learns that. But at the minute, I think he's found it difficult.
Wayne, you said you were at the game. Are you going to be in the next Deadpool movie now?
No. Well, I was in the Deadpool commercial a few years back with Ryan
Been there, done that.
So yeah.
Did you meet the owners or
no?
anyone?
I think they were sat above us. I think, yeah. But what I will say is, honestly, I say it again, the atmosphere. I really enjoyed it. There's my favourite game since I stopped playing was Barcelona Inter Milan in the semi-final last year, and this one's took over. Really enjoyed it.
Wowzers. Wrexham fans will absolutely love that. Going from talking about Barcelona games, but he enjoyed his trip to the racecourse. Okay, let's talk about some of the other big stories from the weekend then. There's so many. By the way, we also have to give massive congratulations to Port Vale beating Sunderland, because that is an incredible story. But focusing on one of the games between two Premier League giants, Newcastle 1, Man City 3. What did you make of Man City, firstly, Wayne? Is this another signal that they are back to their best? Because I think Eddie Howe said at one point it was like they had them in a stranglehold.
Yeah, I think City have been good over the last few weeks and efficient in getting results. Obviously, the last game in the league against Forest was a disappointment for them. But yeah, City at the best, obviously top team, very difficult to beat and play against them. I think it's probably the reaction Guardiola will have wanted after the Forest game. So yeah, I think it's no surprise with City, with the squad and the players they've got and the quality they've got, that they performed on like that. I think Newcastle, you're hoping that the fans turn up and they can make it as difficult as they can for City. But if City are at the best, then I think they can blow any team away.
And Savinho, when he came on,
Savinho was good.
Yeah, Savinho was really good. That goal was quite funny. I don't know how much he knew about it, but it just hit him and went in. And I thought that did he mean that?
I don't know, you'll have to ask him, but you need that bit of luck, don't you, at times as well. And for any attacking player, when things like that happen, you should always come out and say you meant it, regardless. But no, I think it's a little bit of luck as well. But yeah, I think for City, getting players back and players challenging the other players, competition for places will be key for them in this running, because obviously dropping the points and gives Arsenal a big advantage. But having players back and players come into the team and do well, obviously, is great for Guardiola.
Did you see Pep on the touchline? Obviously, he got a yellow card and he's going to be missing from the touchline for a couple of games. And I wonder if that is maybe a reflection of a difficult week for Man City and everything that they're kind of...
Yeah, that'll be just emotion. He will have been raging after the Forest game, obviously, to get back to within touching distance of Arsenal and then, let that lead slip against Forest. He will have been raging, and that's just an emotion which he's been holding in for the last few days. And and all that's come out, and but what I seen the other day, Rob Edwards against Liverpool when he ran down. Did he not get booked?
I don't think.
I
I
don't
don't know.
think-
He did it twice, didn't he? He did it 2
I don't
games
think
in
he
a row.
got booked, did he? And then I'm just going back to the David Moyes one when Moyes got booked. Rob Edwards runs down the whole length of the touchline, boots the ball into the crowd and celebrates, which I think is great. And I'm not saying I want him booked.
Oh,
but,
come on, let them off. They've had an awful season.
Yeah, no, but I'm not saying I want him booked, but I'm just saying, again, the consistency. Why did David Moyes get booked and banned?
It's like kicking a man when he's down, though, isn't it?
No. Listen, I hope he gets away with it, but I'm just, it's that consistency.
He's going to get a retrospective yellow because of the Wayne Rooney show.
No, he won't, but no, it's more for the fact that when Moisey just went onto the pitch slightly, he gets booked.
Yeah. I think with the Guardiola thing, it sort of reminded me a little of that year when United went out of the Champions, when Nani got a red card and Fergie came like running down because he was so angry with it, because he in his head knew he was leaving. And I feel like there might be an element of that where I feel like Guardiola wants to win something before he leaves. Maybe I'm imagining things, right? But I feel like he does want to win something. If the league is out of reach, he still does want to win a trophy.
No, I don't think the league's out of reach just yet, and I think they're still obviously well within that title race. Yeah, for me, it's more of a frustration which he's had over the last couple of days. He'll be scratching his head of how they didn't beat Forest, and that will have been eating him inside, and yeah, sometimes it boils over, and you get a yellow card. That's football.
Just a quick word where that leaves the title race, because I don't know, Arsenal have gone through. We knew Arsenal were probably going to go through, although Mansfield were brilliant as well.
Yeah, no, well, again, for Arsenal, and I've heard over the last week a lot of people talking about Arsenal and how they're playing. I think Arsenal have been brilliant. Football is played in different ways, and you know, you can have Man City of a few years ago where they were absolutely incredible, or you know, United when I played there, or '99, where we were relentless and ruthless and devastating. And Arsenal have got a good mix of a bit of everything. We've got different players who score goals. They're hard to play against. They keep clean sheets, and I actually enjoy watching them play. So I think they're very efficient.
Do you enjoy those set pieces though, Wayne?
It's part of set pieces, part of football. But so
no, of course, no. But like all the pushing and jostling and stuff.
Yeah, but when David Beckham's whipping free kicks in from 20, 25 yards, it's a piece of genius. But when Arsenal have done something which they've clearly worked on, and they know teams find difficult to defend against, why would you not use it?
Yeah, but a Royal Rumble in the 18-yard box isn't exactly.
If the officials are not going to do anything to stop that, and I don't even think it is a Royal Rumble, I think they put bodies in there, and they're putting the ball to the back post most of the time, and then getting a knockdown and scoring goals. So
fair enough.
If you're not clever enough, or you haven't got the players who can deal with that, why would Arsenal not continue to do that? If you see a weakness,
I'm playing devil's advocate, because if my team did it and we win, I'd be like, whatever, we got a result.
Before games, we used to look at 2 or 3 players maybe and say, this is how the opposition can hurt you. So if we stop this, we stop a big chance of them scoring or winning the game against you. So surely every team is looking, saying, right, this is what Arsenal do. But from Arsenal's point of view, teams have found it difficult to stop it. And Chelsea, I think, Chelsea have only scored 1 or 2 goals less on set pieces than Arsenal.
No one's talking about them, are they?
It's part of the game. I love it. I think they've been great, and you know, they shouldn't think. I'm sure Arteta doesn't think this, but they have to change anything because people are moaning and complaining about it.
Would you be happy playing the position that you used to play, Wayne, playing in that Arsenal team at the moment, or would it frustrate you? Or would you just be happy because you're winning?
Well, I think Arsenal take the ball, and they take the ball off the opposition. They get players in good positions, and they maybe haven't scored as many goals from open play as they'd like, but they've made up for it in different ways. And there was the last league title we won. We went great as a team. We won the league title, but no one is going back to that now, saying, "Oh, that Man United team won that last title weren't great."
I think for Arsenal, they had the years where they played incredible football, one-touch passing and all that.
Yeah, and won nothing.
Yeah, and they didn't win anything, exactly. And I think for them, it's just important to get over the line this season.
Yeah, but I don't think they've been as bad as what people are saying. I really don't. I think they've
How
been good.
can they? They clearly haven't been bad.
No, they haven't been as bad, but yeah, no, but I'm saying, like, I feel like this year is a sort of like win by any means necessary.
You look at Greece, when Greece won Euro 2004, no one cares how they won trophies. Chelsea under Mourinho were very defensive and played on the counter-attack, won titles. No one says anything about that. So I think, I'm not saying this because I like Arsenal. I'm saying this because I think it's very unfair, which the criticism which they are receiving for being what are they, 7 points top of at the minute, 7 points top of the league. And if teams can't deal with it, do it more. That's what I'd be doing if I was Arteta.
Kind of does feel like at the moment that he's using that as a bit of kind of fuel to keep his team going. Some of his comments post-match against Mansfield, I just get the feeling maybe they're kind of enjoying winding people up. I don't know. Well, they're probably just enjoying being 7 points clear, aren't they, really?
Yeah, I think their focus is just trying to win games in any way possible. And when you're going for the title, I don't think the last 10 games, I don't think you have to worry about what anyone thinks about how you play, as long as you win.
Yeah, no, and no one, like you said, no one's going to be talking about it if they do lift that Premier League title in May. Back to that Newcastle Man City game, I just also was intrigued as to what you thought about Newcastle.
Yeah, for Newcastle, it's very difficult now, isn't it, to use the funds and spend the money, which I think we all probably know they can do. It's difficult for them to do that. Where City, Chelsea, and United, obviously, over years have been able to do that. Newcastle not able to do that, and they're trying to find different ways. And so for them to bridge that gap is going to be difficult over the next few years again, but I think they just have to be patient with them. They've got a great fan base. They're not going to, get instant success, but I think if they're on the right path.
I think last summer's transfer window was an opportunity missed there, and I think the fact that they didn't have a proper sporting director in place at the time has really affected their season right now.
Yeah, the Isak one was difficult for Newcastle, wasn't it? Because obviously they had to know what money was coming in to what they can spend, basically, and that dragging on. And then I think they were in for Sesko and then Bumo as well, and didn't get them too. And it feels like they were forced really into some signings, and maybe not the number one targets. But yeah, listen, I think Newcastle have got a great manager in Eddie Howe. I think he's really impressed with everything he does.
How much do you think, I know the Isak thing dragged on last summer and obviously they've lost a great amount of goals from that team, but how do you think that has affected them, like even now, because they haven't, Voltemada's scored in fits and spurts, hasn't he? But they haven't got that out and out goal scorer. Do you think that kind of puts pressure throughout the rest of the team?
Yeah, well, but he haven't. Voltemada looks like he's happy to play deeper in more of a midfield role, or number 10, and Wisser hasn't really got going at all for Newcastle. So I think they've been missing an out-and-out number 9, if I'm honest. Anthony Gordon has done well when he's gone in there, especially in the Champions League. But yeah, I think for Newcastle, the priority this year is, obviously the Champions League now, trying to go through in that and qualify again for the Champions League next season. I think that's got to be a priority for them, because if they miss out on the Champions League for next season, then I think that's another step back and puts their plans back another year.
It feels like Tuesday is just huge. I mean, I don't know if they can win the Champions League, but they look like they're in a slightly tough position in the league given the teams around them too.
Yeah, I think it will be tough, and I think anyone who's left in the Champions League can win it. They're all good teams, but it's going to be very difficult for them to win the Champions League. So yeah, I think for Newcastle now, they have to just, again, what I was saying before, when everyone's fit, just try and play the strongest team in every game and pick up as many points as they can and hope the other teams drop points to try and get back in that Champions League.
I tell you what, I've been to St James's a few times. That atmosphere is going to be good on Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. But I've been speaking to Alan Shearer about this, and we've been desperate to go to Newcastle for the Champions League game, but one of meaning really, where this one is going to be some atmosphere in some games, so looking forward to it.
He must be nervous, mustn't he, Al, at this point? He's a proper, isn't he? I think a lot of people think sometimes when there's like club legends, but I've watched Newcastle games with him before. He gets proper into it, doesn't he? And he's a proper Newcastle fan.
Yeah, he is, and it's funny sometimes watching him next to him. You have to be a little bit quiet at times as well, because he's really intense watching it, and he wants Newcastle to win. I think that's the main thing for him, and so yeah, I'm sure he'll be nervous. It's the first leg, so they can still be in the tie. If they're still in the tie going into the second leg, then I think they've done well.
Yeah, we've mentioned the Champions League a few times and the fact it's a big week for Newcastle. It's potentially, I don't know, is it even bigger for Spurs? Everything feels big at the moment for Spurs. Since we last spoke, Wayne, things haven't really got any better, have they?
No, and obviously the manager's come in and I think it was 3 games, 3 defeats. But for me, I look at them players. I just think the players... I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago and said they probably are where they deserve to be in terms of the players they've got fit and available and have had most of the season. But the lack of spirit and fight and heart and belief in that team is incredible. We've heard the Tottenham fans for the last few years now hammering Daniel Levy. I don't personally know him, so it's not for me, but I think sometimes be careful what you wish for, because I think he did hold that club together and we're seeing all the cracks in that football club now since he's left.
But do you know what? I think what you said there about belief is so right. I think what you need in a relegation fight is players going, right, let's roll up our sleeves, or like, come on guys, let's get out of this mess. But it just feels like all the players there are sort of resigned to the fact that they're going down. And some of them are probably on the phone to their agents going, what clauses do I have in my contract? Am I going to be able to leave? Probably trying to look at other clubs that they could go to, because none of them, when you watch a Tottenham game right now, look like they're up for the fight.
I was watching the Palace game the other day. I like Tottenham. Tottenham was the team I always liked growing up as well. And if I was the Tottenham manager now, or even one of the players as one of the leaders, I think I'd probably come out and just say, listen, we know we haven't been good enough, but please get behind us and stick with us, and we need you more than ever. It
must be so hard for those fans at the moment.
We need you to get behind us. The booing and getting on the players' backs isn't helping. Just get behind us. Let's try and get through the season, and then we can.
But Wayne, I think the leaders in that dressing room are the ones going, I'm out of here.
If you think that gives opportunity for someone else to go and do that, and whether that's a Conor Gallagher who's only just gone in there, or whoever that may be, that's an opportunity for someone to stand up and step up, because what's happening at that club it's not nice to see. I like Tottenham, respect Tottenham, and I hope they don't go down. But at the minute, it's slowly looking more likely they might do.
Do you think they should stick with Tudor? How long should they give him? I know that sounds wild.
You can't change it now. You can't change the manager now after bringing him in. That just causes more confusion, more, trust as players. You need to trust the people above you as well. I think that's important. And if they change the manager now, I think that it's given the players another excuse to not blame themselves and blame someone else and put that pressure on someone else to come in and new ideas again. Maybe I just think that there has to be something which that manager or them players or the board there can do to get more, because I think the fans at Tottenham at the minute, I feel so sorry for them.
Do you think they're staying up?
Last week I did. This week I'm not too sure.
Just a word on the FA Cup in general. Kay, do you like it? Has this weekend reinforced that the magic is still there?
I love the FA Cup. I love the FA Cup.
I think what we've seen, and I've seen personally this year, is what's happened at Maxfield, obviously beating Palace, Wrexham and Port Vale, obviously beating Sunderland, and the underdogs going into games, and the day out that gives the fans, the revenue which some of these games can give clubs, smaller clubs as well. It is great, and from the flip side, if you're one of the top teams and you're in this competition, you go deep and you've got an opportunity to win it. It's such a great. I've only won it once, but it's such a great trophy to win, and growing up watching the club as a fan, knowing that was probably our only hope as an Everton fan of winning anything, it's something which has always stuck with me, and it's a competition which I love playing in, love watching, and just wish that people respected it a bit more.
One of my best days as a football fan, probably one of the best days of my life, to be honest, I was watching Watford get to an FA Cup final, because we're one of those teams that are never going to win anything.
I thought you was going to say the semi-final at Villa Park when I scored 2.
Not that one. I was there, Wayne. I was there watching it. The semi-final in the year we got to the final was good, because we were 2-0 down against Wolves and came back to win 3-2. But even getting to the final, we lost 6-0. But I don't care. It's still just the fact that you've seen your team in an FA Cup final when you're a team. You guys can't relate to it because, okay, you're a Man United fan. Wayne, you played for the biggest club in the world. But yeah, I get frustrated for the fans of smaller clubs.
I went to the final, Everton-Chelsea. I was at that final as an Everton fan when Louis Saha scored after a minute or something. So I know what it's like to go to Wembley as a player and a fan and lose.
Hopefully everyone else enjoyed FA Cup weekend as much as we have. Thanks for watching and listening to The Wayne Rooney Show. We'll be back on Friday. And as always, you can watch The Wayne Rooney Show on the BBC Sport YouTube and iPlayer, or listen on BBC Sounds.